You're telling me about this, I'll tell you about that. Start talking shit, you walk into another trap.
And welcome to the show. The big news of the week was the tragedy at London Bridge.
A major anti-terror investigation is underway after another terrorist attack near London Bridge.
25-year-old Jack Merritt and 23-year-old Saskia Jones were murdered by convicted terrorist Usman Khan.
Several members of the public managed to wrestle him to the ground, and their bravery has been widely praised.
I'm not surprised so many more lives would have been lost if it wasn't for the bravery of everyday people who fought that terrorist. Did you see what they used? One man was armed with a fire extinguisher and another a 5-foot narwhal tusk. How brave is that? They fought a terrorist with foam and a fish tooth. And neither of them was seriously injured, which is amazing when you consider just how big their balls must be. I'll say this now, those heroes will never have to buy a pint again. In fact, we should name a pub after them and call it this, the Tusk and Extinguisher. Right? If only our politicians were as brave. There's 1 week until the election, and Boris Johnson can't even be asked to turn up to debates.
The Tories complain to Ofcom as Channel 4 replaces Boris Johnson with a melting ice cube in its climate debate.
They replaced him with an ice cube. Surely they should have gone with this. It gets worse. His dad rocked up to do it for him. What, is he 5 years old? Boris, debate time. Dad! Dad! I don't want to... Yeah! It's pathetic. We all do stuff we don't want to do. I've been on the fucking One Show. Twice. Who lets their dad do their job?
He's an absolute fucking disgrace.
Seriously. It wasn't just his papa. He sent Michael Gove, a man who looks like he's having a permanent rectal exam. A man so dedicated to lies, he married a Daily Mail journalist. Did you see him trying to barge his way in?
We're expecting you.
Hello.
How are you? I'm Ed from Channel 4 News.
Hi, Ed. Hi. Will you be able to put me on the debate floor tonight?
No! You weren't invited. You can't just rock up to do a TV show if you haven't been asked. And thank Christ for that, or my mum would have been in every episode of Luther. All right, Jess. Don't mind me. I'm just going to sit in the corner and just look at you, Idris. If you can't find the killer, you can always chain me up. It was ridiculous. Look, I really got into that then. I nearly said out loud, I really got into my mum then, and thank God I didn't. The point I'm making, it was ridiculous. Look at the reason Gove claimed he should have been allowed on.
It was a leader's debate. It's as simple as that. You're not the leader.
Well, as Stanley said, I am a leader.
You're not the leader! A and the completely changed the meaning. There's a massive difference between the Queen and a Queen. It's completely different. This guy's the shit. And this is a shit. It wasn't just Channel 4. Go over to pop at Stormzy after the rapper urged his followers to vote Labour. He rang up the radio to diss him.
All I would say is that he's a far, far better rapper than he is political analyst.
Then, like an embarrassing vicar, he tweeted this. I set trends, dem man copy. It's so cringy, isn't it?
Tell Stormzy I'll pop a cap inside his bottom. He's an absolute waste man.
Set trends. If you set trends, we'd all be clapping like this. It looks like my mum watching Luther. Elsewhere, not all heroes were carrying narwhal tusk this week. Did you see this wonderful old lady slam Boris Johnson?
I normally vote Conservative, but I can't bear the buffoon.
Oh, really?
I call him a buffoon. And anybody who doesn't know he needs longer shirts is an idiot.
He needs longer shirts, preferably ones that cover his mouth. Boom!
There's more. Look who she thinks cuts his hair.
Well, yes, and perhaps a haircut as well.
Well, I think he does it himself.
Probably uses a bowl, the useless fuck.
Mind you, Corbyn, not exactly winning hearts and minds.
Everyone in this room voted Labour last time. Who's thinking about voting for Labour again? Put your hands up.
Still! That's just one focus group. I bet he's doing much better on the doorstep.
What do you think would happen if Jeremy Corbyn got into, I mean, goodness...
I'd probably hang myself.
Shall I put you down as a maybe?
It must be so depressing when Corbyn hears that. What are they saying on the streets?
Well, one woman said she'd top herself. One bloke said he'd rather nosh up a dog. And there was a very sweet old lady who said she'd rather shit in her hand and clap.
So it's better than last week. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The paucity of leadership choices in this election are ridiculous. How does this country produce some of the finest musicians, scientists, surgeons, actors, entrepreneurs, designers, engineers, philosophers, artists, inventors, sports stars, and yet this is our choice? They're not leaders. They're like the bit of dribbleweed that comes out when you finish pissing. Then, just when you think Britain can't get any more divided, look who rocks up.
President Trump has arrived in the United Kingdom for a summit of NATO leaders.
Well, that's all we need, isn't it? Do you know what I feel sorry for? The Queen. Donald Trump will meet the Queen for second time this year. Poor Liz. As if her year hasn't been bad enough.
I've been lied to by Boris. Prince Andrew's a pedo magnet. And now I've got to chat to this what's-it-faced fuck. Again. Philip! Fetch my narwhal tusk. I'm gonna tear him a new arsehole.
Trump said, that may be the end of my career. Trump said he wasn't going to meddle in our election. Then, in his first press conference, he said this.
I stay out of it. I think Boris is very capable, and I think he'll do a good job.
I'm staying out of it. Bojo, Bojo, Bojo. Ah, my second asshole. To be honest, Trump should be more concerned with what's happening in his own country.
House Democrats are looking at whether President Trump abused his power by withholding military aid from Ukraine while pressing for an investigation into one of his main rivals for the presidency, Joe Biden.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the evidence is clear that the president violated his oath of office.
In case you haven't been following it, here's what's happened so far. Basically, Trump's been accused of putting pressure on the Ukrainian president to dig up dirt on Joe Biden. Trump said he did nothing wrong, which is clearly bullshit. Look how he described the phone call with Ukraine.
I had a perfect phone call, a totally perfect phone call.
Which was a perfect call.
Absolutely perfect phone call. That call was perfect.
Who describes a phone call as perfect? He spoke, I spoke. It was. The only time a phone call's perfect is when you have a piss and they don't realise. No, I'm in a lift. And when he wasn't banging on about a perfect phone call, he was speaking in Latin.
There was no quid pro quo.
There was no quid pro quo. Quid pro quo.
There was no quid pro quo. I did not scratch his back. He did not scratch mine. Seeing as you're so familiar with Latin, tu plenes decore, which is Latin for, you are full of shit. There was no quid pro quo. Yeah, and this congressman didn't fart on TV.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
I mean, Christ. Even one of Trump's inner circle, Gordon Sondland, testified against him.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
Yes. So, what happened next? Trump had a breakdown. This is the conversation he claims he had.
I want nothing. That's what I want from Ukraine. That's what I said. I want nothing. I said it twice.
You said it twice. You said it more than twice, mate.
So here's my answer. I want nothing. I want nothing.
Anything else?
This is the final word from the President of the United States. I want nothing.
Here's a question. Why would you ring someone up to tell them you want nothing? Hello, 999? Nothing. Well, that was perfect. If you thought the speech was bad, check out his notes. This is his actual handwriting. Look at that. What font is that? Times New Batshit? He didn't have the balls to claim this about Sondland.
I don't know him very well. I have not spoken to him much.
Really? Because Trump nominated him as the ambassador to the EU, and Sondland said he spoke on the phone with Trump about 20 times. Don't know him very well.
That is some bullshit.
Cheers, Dad. What I want to know, what do Trump's notes look like now? Do you know the funny thing? Trump doesn't need to dig up dirt on Joe Biden to make him look bad. He can do it on his own, right? Look at the language he used to condemn domestic violence.
No man has a right to raise a hand to a woman in anger other than in self-defense, and that's rarely ever occurs. And so we have to just change the culture, period, and keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it.
What a moron! We need to punch domestic violence in the face. Domestic violence needs to shut the fuck up, make my dinner, and go get me a beer. We need to show respect to chicks, birds, and babes. Right, sugar tits? I pointed at a man. Mind you, I doubt you'll be able to know because I've got a lazy eye. Now, away from politics, God, I love this story.
Now, an 82-year-old woman has described the moment she made a man regret breaking into her home in New York after she fought back. The intruder was unaware that despite Willie Murphy's age, she is still in very good shape and is not your average 82-year-old.
You can say that again. Listen to what she did to the intruder.
I took that table and I went to working on him, and guess what? The table broke, and it had metal legs, and I'm jugging him, jugging him, jugging him. And when he's down, I'm jumping on him.
I used that bastard like a goddamn trampoline. There's more.
There's a bottle of baby shampoo on the table. I grabbed the shampoo, and guess what? He's still on the ground in his face.
Eat Head and Shoulders, motherfucker! The ending was glorious.
The police arrive on the porch, and the house is already open, so they come in. He's laying down already, because I had really did a number on that man. I'm serious.
Do you reckon she's got a sign outside her house that just says, beware of me? Join me after the break when I'll be talking to the award-winning journalist, Carol Cadwallader.
Everything you do on the internet is logged somewhere.
Everything.
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 Everything. Everything. Everything.
Everything? Now it's time for Playground Politics. This week, I spoke to the kids about being vegan.
Do you know what a vegan is?
Nope. I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. I've heard they eat a lot of nuts. Oh, is it a comedian?
Nope.
A vegan is where they don't eat dairy or meat, which is a bit boring. They can't have ice cream, chocolate, and they can't have your meats. Maybe they don't like meat? Yeah, but then you just go to be a vegetarian. If you don't want dairy, then you've got a big issue.
Apparently, in 10 years' time, all of the population may be vegan.
But meat tastes so good, though. That's not fair.
Does that sound fun?
No, because I can't live with meat.
You can't live with meat.
You can't live without it. Yeah, I can't live without it. I just...
It's like that U2 song, isn't it? I can't live with or without meat.
Well, this is not a singing contest.
OK.
Next question.
OK. Do you get angry at people being vegans?
No.
So a lot of people do. There's a guy called Piers Morgan who gets very upset.
Has he gone insane?
And well, I think he's been going slowly insane over the last couple of years. Are there any animals you wouldn't eat?
A rhino.
You wouldn't eat a rhino?
No. Why wouldn't you? Rhinos are delicious. Why did he taste me before? No. When he was alive.
What about a dog?
Why would we eat a dog?
Gerbil?
It's a small animal.
What's your favourite meat?
Meat?
Yeah.
Mini meat.
Mini meat?
Yeah, mini meat. What's mini meat?
What's mini meat? Yeah, so good.
It has vegetables inside of it.
Right.
And then when you eat it, your mouth goes like bloody. I make it myself, no one eats it. Next question.
My guest this week is a journalist who's been at the heart of one of the biggest political scandals of our time. Carol Cadwallader is an author and journalist best known for appearing in the hit Netflix documentary The Great Hack. She was instrumental in breaking the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which exposed voter manipulation on social media.
It's about whether it's actually possible to have a free and fair election ever again.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carol Cadwallader! I've never had a guest run on. How exciting was that? You were so eager to be on.
I don't know. I need to get bedded down amongst the fake news.
OK.
You know, so...
Well, yeah, it must feel weird for you to be surrounded
well,
by
I know.
papers.
They told me, I was like, are they real? And they were like, no, actually, they're entirely made-up headlines.
They are.
And I was like, well, how apt.
Exactly. Now, I loved The Great Hack. I found it... Well, I say I loved it. I found it utterly depressing. But I'm glad I've seen it. Now, if you haven't seen it, can you sort of explain the story to us?
So the story, it's following some of the characters involved in the Cambridge Analytica scandal.
Yeah.
So this was the story of this very strange company, essentially, because as well as doing political consultancy, it also did information warfare in kind of countries like Afghanistan. And essentially, last year, with the Observer and the New York Times, we brought forward this whistleblower, Chris Wiley, with the pink hair, and with this kind of incredible evidence about how this psychologist at Cambridge University had harvested the profiles of 87 million people on Facebook without them knowing.
Yeah.
And then they'd used all of that information that they'd gathered about people in order to sort of build these models and then target them.
And how did those models, how did they work?
They worked by, I mean, essentially it was that the basis of the science of it is that everything you do online builds up a picture about yourself. And so every sort of thing that you like on Facebook, it's another data point.
Yeah.
And that if you have enough of these data points, it only takes, I think it was something like 250 likes for Facebook to know you better than your partner.
Wow.
And so it's this kind of incredibly rich data set that then you can use in all sorts of slightly creepy ways to elect Trump.
Exactly. And, well, it was used in the US election.
It was used in the US election. So Cambridge Analytica was one of the companies that worked for Donald Trump and, helped to get him elected.
How does advert targeting work to help elections?
So what happens is all of the campaigns, they don't just send adverts to everybody. What they do is they gather up like as much information from all sources as they can to profile people and to figure out, and they're doing that because they don't want to target people who are really hardcore Conservative voters, and they don't want to target people who are really hardcore Labour voters. What they're looking for is those few people who are just kind of not sure, and who are the swing voters, and who they call, it's called the persuadables. The people who you might just persuade to change your mind, or the other people you try and look for are the people who don't normally vote, who might be able to, you might be able to turn out. And sometimes as well, and especially they did this in the Trump election, you try and persuade people not to turn out.
Yeah.
And the ads that you see on Facebook, only you see them. So they're only sent to you, and somebody else might get a completely different ad saying something else entirely. And so it's just this real difference, because before, we all saw the same billboards, we all saw the same leaflets, we all saw the same telly ads. We knew what politicians were saying. We could hold them to those promises. Whereas now it's all about spreading these individual messages in darkness.
Yeah.
And so much of the time, they're just complete lies.
It's just Chinese whispers in the dark.
Exactly. It's a really, really different conception of politics and political campaigning than we've had before.
Yeah.
And it's not partisan. It's not about politics. That it is just about the fact that this technology has sort of changed the entire game.
And how did they first find out about this? How did they sort of find out that this worked?
Well, they found out it works because Facebook is unbelievably successful at selling ads.
Right.
And, advertising works. I mean, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And if it didn't work, people wouldn't place ads. Yeah. And so it's exactly the same concept, really, as selling you shampoo, selling you...
But it's selling you shampoo specifically for the type of hair that you want.
Exactly.
Based on what football team you support, based on what food you eat, based on everything.
Yeah.
So it's your shampoo. Carol shampoo. You like this shampoo? Put it on now.
Yeah.
You want more? You like that, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. Are you a natural blonde, or do you get a little help these days?
Yeah. Hey, we both get a little help these days. I think we've been getting the same ads, Carol. Was it used in the Brexit
It's
referendum?
really complicated about how it was used because essentially Aaron Banks, who's the guy who funded Nigel Farage's Leave EU campaign,
Yes.
boasted for a very long time about, hey, we use Cambridge Analytica, they're amazing, what fantastic AI. And then I was like, oh, that's very interesting. And then I looked, because you have to declare all spending in an election in Britain.
Right.
And I kept on looking at the Electoral Commission's website and going, I can't seem to see it here. And so this sort of set off this investigation that eventually sort of led to all sorts of things.
And is it just, like, Republicans and Brexiteers that are doing it?
So the whole thing about this, the whole misconception I think people have about this story is that it really isn't to do with party politics. At the base of it is it's the way that technology has undermined all of our laws and all of our, essentially, all of the way that we conduct elections.
Do you have a Facebook account?
I have like a stalker account, a false account.
Right.
But yet, and I'm kind of like, you know, I was sort of like, well, if they've got no idea who I am with this fake name. But then the whole thing is about Facebook is that even if you don't have a Facebook account, Facebook is still tracking you around the internet and still has a kind of case file on you, essentially. And so, you know, when you go onto, like, pages on the internet, so like a news site or anything, you see the little Facebook symbol. Well, they've got a tracker there. So they just track you. Everything you do on the internet is logged somewhere.
Everything?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. Everything. Everything.
Everything? What? So with that in mind, do you find yourself... Because how can you exist without going on the internet? And therein lies the problem, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of, like, what's sort of weird about being a journalist doing this kind of story is that you're just a little bit further ahead than the rest of the population in terms of the way of feeling this surveillance on you.
So what keeps you going?
It's the truth.
Yeah.
There's still so much we don't know about what happened in 2016 in the Trump campaign and in the referendum. One of the things I kind of write about and have been studying is the way that the social media platforms are, as well as being, you know, where you chat to your friends or look at photos of cats, it's also where these, you know, it's also kind of become this site of information warfare. I mean, it's where hostile governments like Russia, you know, we know that Russia attacked America in the US presidential election, and they did it, you know, via Facebook.
Can we trust any party with Facebook adverts, like on the...
No, because the system doesn't work anymore. So the whole thing is that every single body which it has an interest in this, like official government bodies, like all of the regulators, they have all said the laws don't work, our elections aren't safe, we urgently need to make new laws, and this must happen before we have another election. And they have all been completely ignored. And we've gone into this election without doing anything about that. And so we're completely vulnerable.
So how do you go about kind of voting when you know all this?
There are people who you do believe in, who do have a genuine sense of public service, I think. And I think that's both sides. Most people are still kind of good and decent and kind and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that you do have to hold on to some sense of that actually we just need a few more of those in Parliament. And this is why, like, I just do think that journalism now has this responsibility. We've got to call out the liars. You've got to call the lying liars liars.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't watched The Great Hack, I urge you to watch it. In the meantime, please give it up for the wonderful Carol Cadwallader! Join me after the break when me and Tan France will be hot-tugging. Right.
Oh, God, I don't know what's happened, Tam. We're going to die.
It's worth it. The Nando's is worth it.
Whoa.
Oh. I'm gay. I can't catch.
Welcome back to the show. In this week's Playdate, me and the star of Queer Eye, Tan France, went hot-tugging.
Russell,
Yes.
Why are we here?
My friend, if I were to say, would you like to come hot tugging with me?
I'd say I've only just met you.
Yeah.
And that seems really inappropriate. And I'm a married man.
Okay.
Happily.
I'm married too.
But you still like a hot tug?
What happens at sea stays at sea. It isn't as filthy as it sounds.
I have seen you shirtless, so my answer is yes.
You've seen me shirtless?
I have.
I knew it was you in the garden. Right, let's go tug.
Yes, please.
So, this is hot tugging.
It's not what I expected. It is actually lovely.
It is raining. That's the only problem.
Yeah. Now, I'm positive you're meant to be steering clear of the white boys.
Yeah.
That's usually my issue in life is staying away from the white boys.
Why is that?
They're just so darn attractive.
Oh, really?
They really are. I married one, and it was the best thing I ever did.
Really?
Yeah.
And was it love at first sight?
For him, it was.
Really?
For me. He wore slippers on our first date.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a bold choice. He was a brave guy.
But that's a guy that wants to get you home quickly, isn't it?
He's already prepared. Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but look at the crowd that we've gathered here.
It's really nice. Hi. Hello. Hi.
There you go. I bet you've got some wild fans. Do they have a name?
They don't.
The Tanfastics.
Tantastics.
Fantastic.
I like
there you
that.
go, that worked. So, Queer Eye. Why do you think it's become such a massive hit? Because it's like huge, isn't it?
The reason why I think it's successful globally is because you don't really have to understand. If you're watching in Pakistan, you don't necessarily have to understand the nuances of our culture in the US. You just see 6 people finding commonality that you would never see on TV before. We are mostly dealing with Republicans, which is our version of the Tories, and we are all very much liberal.
Right.
And so bridging that divide and saying, let's ignore all those politics, let's actually come together as humans. The shocking thing is that it's a group of queer people who are helping bridge this divide.
Yeah.
Normally you'd think, well, it's going to have to be a white straight man that helps solve the problems of the world.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
It's almost like white straight men have caused a lot of the problems.
Yeah, so let's bring in the gays.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that can solve it.
There you go.
We're going to leave that down for a minute.
That's perfect.
Can I come back?
Presumably, that's a huge thing to go from, you know, like I got famous gradually over a 10-year period.
Yeah, for us it happened within a week.
But like mega fame.
Yeah.
How has your life changed in the past 2 years?
2 years ago, I would have been going through the surrogacy process to have children. I would have been living a really quiet life.
Yeah.
Instead, I get to be in rooms that people could only dream of.
Who did you meet? Who was the one that really blew your mind?
This is so weird because it doesn't matter that you're meeting an Oprah or an Obama or a Beyonce.
Yeah.
The people that you are fangirling over are the people that moulded your life as a child.
Gordon the Gopher.
Gordon the Gopher.
Philip Schofield. Have you met Pip?
Yeah, I did the show this morning, which my family was obsessed with. We watched it every morning.
Yeah.
Meeting Philip was more important to me than meeting somebody massive in Hollywood.
Really?
Yeah.
So, is there anything I could do to make this better?
Nando's. Cheeky Nando's, anywhere I go.
Would you say you're obsessed with Nando's?
This should give you an example of how obsessed. We don't have Nando's in Salt Lake. The closest one is Canada. I have taken many a trip on my day off from home to get Nando's, and there's a 2.5-hour flight, and then I will have my Nando's and come right back home.
Wow.
I know.
If Greta Thunberg hears that, she's going to kill you.
I know. It's not a private plane. I got with everybody else. It was an empty seat.
That is an obsession.
Here's the thing. I think now that that I'm on TV, people assume, oh, he wants like a froth that tastes of caviar or something. I'm like, save that shit for someone else. That's rich white guy food. I have no interest. Give me Nando's. Give me fish and chips.
Let's order some Nando's. What would you like?
Are you serious? You're gonna get Nando's?
Yeah.
On here?
Uh-huh.
God, you are a bougie bitch. Okay, if you really can achieve this, I would like my chicken and pitta, medium, cheese, no lettuce, and chips, please.
Right, that's done.
I just say it and it's a thing?
Oh, yeah, we can make it happen.
Oh,
this is
wonderful.
TV in the UK. It's all changed.
Oh my God, I need to move back
Graham
to the
Norton
UK.
could just shout burger and it's there. What do you miss about the UK?
Many things, mostly food-based.
Yeah, right.
Greg's. I love a Greggs. I'm Northern.
Yeah.
Like, I will never be that person who spends stupid money on a pasty when you can get one from Greggs for 99p.
I mean, you do know that's
incredible.
just become the Greggs advert.
Rightly so. You know, people would be shocked because they peg me on Queer Eye as the classy one. I am trash through and through.
What do the boys make of your filthy eating?
Jonathan has equally disgusting eating habits.
Really?
We're both the worst. Karamo has Skittles and Coke for breakfast every day. If he can't buy Skittles, he will have a Starburst.
That is
I
phenomenal.
know, it's lovely. He's dead inside, I know. But on the outside, he looks gorgeous.
You seem like you have such a lovely camaraderie. Do you get on?
I love my
Yeah,
boys.
yeah.
What you see on the first episode of Queer Eye, I met them 3 times.
Really?
And most people assumed we had known each other for 10 years
Yeah.
when they saw us. They're the best boys.
Now, I read something that there's somebody employed to literally calm you down because you get too excited.
Yeah. If it's just me and Jonathan, he will make me get on his lap and he'll pretend to feed me.
Nice.
Or I'll get in his top and we'll sit on the couch and I'm like, okay, we're ready to shoot. And we're like, no, we need to get out of his top.
So that's someone's job to say, can you
their
stop
job.
sucking each other's nipples?
Yeah.
We need to sort this.
We're filming a PG show.
So I told you I could get you a Nando's.
You did?
And I'm going to try and get you a Nando's.
Is somebody dropping it from this bridge?
Yeah, let's try and drop it.
Get out!
Yeah. Right.
Oh, God, I don't know what's happened, Sam. We're going to die.
It's worth it. The Nando's is worth it.
Right, here we go.
Okay.
Get ready.
We're ready.
There he is.
Whoa! Oh. I'm gay. I can't catch. Whoever said I could catch? I'm sure it's still going to taste great.
Yeah, I mean, what happened? It was a big crowd there, and it was a big moment, and you fucking dropped it. I've loved this.
Good, me too.
It's my first experience of hot tugging. I can't think of anyone I'd rather hot tug with.
I was literally about to say I wouldn't want to hot tug with anyone else.
Exactly.
So thanks for that.
And now we're going to go and both enjoy some wet Nando's. Finally. Time for good deeds. This week we met a brilliant man who's found a unique way of improving the lives of vulnerable teenagers and the homeless.
My name's Musa. I'm the founder of RESO. We're an organisation that gives high-quality trainers to the most at-risk youth and the homeless. Growing up, I was always a fan of the latest type of trainers that was coming out, but you end up holding a lot of trainers and not wearing them as much as you want. So I thought I'll start doing something positive. So I went out, found some people that was in need of the trainers, and then from there, it just kind of grew. And this one's for you, size 5, you sure? Jordan, you sure? You sure?
This is Cop It. We sell limited and exclusive items. Musa approached us to see if we'd be able to use our shop as a drop-off space for people that want to donate. The sneaker community is behind it, because when they got too much to figure out what to do with it, now RESO's here, they say, oh, you know, I can just donate to the RESO, yeah, which a lot of them do.
We take the trainers, we bring them here, we clean them, dry them, we service the entire shoe, and we bag them up, and then we bring them out into the roads to see who we can give them to.
Our ethos behind it is to really make sure that we give quality. So rather than giving things that are ready for the bin, that we give them the things that we do like, but we just don't use. Sometimes I come across people who are actually barefooted. Their shoes have been stolen while they're sleeping at night. I come across a lady who was homeless, and she had a job interview, but she needed a pair of black shoes, and we happened to have a pair of black trainers that she could use for the interview. So being able to help someone that's in need like that means a lot. What's happening? Go, yeah?
I work many hours a day. Last night I sit 2-3 hours in the rain. I'm a human, I'm a person. What happened today to me is very important and I love it. My friend, take care. Can I give you a hook? Thank you very much.
I never thought it would come to that point where I was giving out 100 pairs, let alone 150 to 200 a month. So the project is growing, and that's just London-based. But we do plan to have a tour where we make our way through the country from the south going up to the north and just raid it through, type of thing. So I'd like to thank Russell for his donations and for reaching out for us with the project that we're doing. And also I'd just like to tell people, just try to make a contribution to the communities that you live in any way possible.
How cool is that? What a thing to do. Thanks very much for watching the show. We'll see you next week for our election special. Good night, my friends. Good night.